This presentation is going to cover Nueces County, Texas. By the time you get done watching this presentation, you'll understand just exactly how there's serious issues here in Texas. And this is a smaller urban county that kind of gives you a little more feel for the numbers. Without further ado, we're going to jump into the numbers right here. All right, so here's Nueces County. I don't normally look at 2000 numbers, especially in Texas, given that George Bush is from Texas and it skews the numbers a bit. 2000 very low turnout election. 2004 big jump for both parties almost everywhere, except for really in Texas, Democrats got slaughtered. And then you've normalized the level of turnout up until 2020, which of course there was one candidate that absolutely fundamentally was going to have high turnout based on his primary performance. The other one, well, that's the big debate of our time. 2004, here's Bush, 59,359 votes. It's a bit skewed based on his hometown appeal. And then what you have is you have the same thing we saw in Travis County and throughout the state of Texas. There's a voter roll purge. So there's a loss of 32,000 voters off the rolls net going into 2008. So the county still stays Republican for McCain, but like everything else, you have most of the county or most of the country moving to the left for Obama. At the county level, that shows up as well. So if Texas registered voters by party, which they do not, you would likely have seen a couple point move left in the registrations in Nueces County. Nueces County is Corpus Christi, which is a South Texas county with a very high Hispanic population. The growth of Nueces County is 6.5%, which for a large county, it's okay. I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not going to sway the trends in the county significantly because of population change. So here we have a 4,400 vote Republican county, 4,500 vote Republican county in 2008. And then what we see here is we see another loss of 10,000 voters, consistent with the lack of energy for Romney and Obama, especially in Texas. Romney goes backward in votes by over 3,000 votes. Obama drops 2,000 votes. So this is a low turnout race here in Nueces County, also with 10,000 fewer registered voters on the books. It's likely that this county trended a little bit more Democrat in registration if it had registration values in Texas. Now we have an addition of 15,000 voters for the 2016 election. Trump goes up just a little bit from Romney. So this is already showing the signs based on Romney losing off of McCain. This is not your typical establishment Republican county. In fact, Bill Clinton won this county 2 times, and it only turned Republican for Bush in 2000, and it has stayed Republican. But Trump picks up a little bit off of Romney, but of course you have a mix of establishment Republicans here. I would be willing to bet that almost all of this in the third party is potential Republican vote, maybe 3/4 of it, based on the fact that Clinton got a decent gain. So you have the Democrat column here. In 2000, they had 45,000. Then there's 44. Then there's 48 almost. Then there's back to 45, 46. And now we're at 49. 5 consecutive elections with all the population growth in Texas. Their vote total is between 45,000 and 49,000 votes. That is with a high Bush performance here and then going back towards a 50,000 benchmark for Republicans. Now we see 10,000 new registered voters in 2020. So I do not feel like this is what you see in places like Travis County, where you have just gobs and gobs and gobs of new voters. I think that's probably organic. That 10,000 voters looks like it's probably real to me. And now look what we have in the Trump side. We have a record Republican gain of 14,000 votes. That is even higher than the 10,000 votes Bush gained from 2000 to 2004. That is absolutely phenomenal. That is all the working class Hispanic vote coming over to Trump. That is a reconsolidation of these guys over here in third party, 4,400 third party voters. Probably got every Republican that parked his vote in third party, plus the Hispanic working class. Who does the Hispanic working class normally vote for? They vote Democrat, typically. You have a coalition shift. And with Trump's vote total going up, an absolute record in a county like this, more than Bush's performance from 2000 to 2004, and without significant voter registration, I would expect this total to be stuck still in the 40s. I would be absolutely surprised to see really any growth at all. But for the sake of analytics, I'm going to go ahead and give Biden the third party votes, which I don't think happened. But I'm going to go ahead and add the third party votes into this column, which means the Democrats should be about 53, 54,000 by my very gracious estimate. So why don't we look and see where the Democrat column is in Nueces County this year? 61,000 votes. So I've scored this county at 7,000 votes heavy for Biden. So the number that I've passed around in Texas is actually very lenient. I would be very surprised with Trump's number, with the new voter registration plus Trump's number, if the Democrats gained a single vote in this county. But I've assigned it about 7,000 high because I gave the third party votes to Biden. This is not a natural vote progression, especially considering the coalition shifting going on in South Texas with working class Hispanic Democrats now voting for Trump. Even so, even with all this cheating, Trump still improved his margin. He raised his margin from 1.5 to 3%. So the county technically trended Republican. It should have trended much more Republican. I mean, you probably have a realistic number here of Trump's vote total over 60%.